Has online school negatively affected the educational growth of students? Ever since the start of COVID-19, online classes have been rising in usage. The need to socially distance from each other has forced online classes to be the requirement for many. This is what happened to me and my peers, and that's the story I'll be telling. For most of my life, I was exclusively an in-person student, and when COVID-19 hit, I didn't think much of it. A few weeks off from school and then back to the usual. And then a few weeks passed and we didn't return to the classroom. My school had decided to have all classes be switched to online for the last semester. And this sudden shift got me thinking, if this was to become the new normal, how is this going to affect me? So today I'll be detailing my experience with online school and go over the effectiveness with it. I'll summarize my shift to online school, explain the impact it had on my learning, and explain the information I found in my research. As I previously stated, I never had an online class before, so when COVID-19 shoved a wrench into my in-person classes, it was a dramatic shift of learning environment for me. All my social elements, assignments, and even the building had changed right before my graduation. And I was a simple student going throughout school how most people were. I didn't expect the shift to online, and at least not as fast as it did. And after the switch, I found myself lacking my usual drive to complete assignments. I had a severe lack of motivation and struggled to understand the topics I was having no trouble with in class. And although I managed to finish the semester and graduate, I didn't feel like I learned what I needed to move on to college. But knowing that I would be taking all online classes next semester, I began looking into other people's experiences to see how they handled online school. And going into my research, I knew I had one question I wanted to answer. Can online school be as or even more effective than in-class learning? The inspiration for this question is fairly simple. As I'm currently in online school, and as I am someone who did only in-class for my whole life, I wanted to know if online school would be effective enough for me. And if it was effective for me, is it effective for other people? And upon researching these questions, I have gained some insights into the effectiveness of online school, not simply for myself, but for other students enrolled in online school. And with that out of the way, let's dive into my research into the effectiveness of online classes. Given the sudden shift to online learning, there's been a few things that have become apparent in my research. Online school has some issues when it comes to accommodating students with various backgrounds. According to an article written by Aaron Richards, they detail that the consequences are most dire for low-income and minority children, who are likely to be learning remotely and less likely to have appropriate technology and home environment for independent study compared with their wealthier peers. Children with disabilities have particularly struggled in the absence of in-class instruction. Online school removes many of the factors that help children out, and those living in poverty are particularly struggling. To quote Aaron Richards again, in high poverty areas, 1 in 3 teachers report their students have significantly less prepared for grade level work this year than compared to last year. And these decreases can be attributed to not having access to the technology needed to facilitate proper online learning. But there's another aspect to consider when looking at this issue though, and that's timing. Online school is a fairly new concept that hasn't been developed as much as in-person teaching has. Geraldine Parker and associates have some good insight on this. In their study, they say that student performance in online schools may improve over time, a longer period of time to develop the best practices of instructional delivery in an online setting. The best way to convey concepts online haven't been fully developed yet, and once these concepts can be developed and have the time needed, the online experience can be even more engaging and informative. And one of the biggest factors in all this comes down to motivation of the student. Many students were rushed into online learning and are unmotivated and mentally stressed out. So figuring out ways to fix these is a big factor in helping them succeed in online school. An article written by Blake Anderson gives a list of attributes that if students work on them, they can have a better online experience. And those attributes are staying disciplined, having good time management, allowing errors to grow from, and working to maintain a good mental state. Working through each of these mindsets and guidelines has helped many push through online school. Students with motivation were able to achieve much higher success in understanding than those who weren't. And looking at these 3 viewpoints, it's clear online school has areas to grow in which online school having a high likelihood to become a staple in the modern era, understanding these answers and knowing how to improve on them could lead to online schools having more success for people in all walks of life. And looking back on my experience in online school, it made me realize that a lot of what online schooling success hinges on is student motivation, proper online classroom formatting. And while the year of COVID may have set many students behind in knowledge, working out these issues could lead to more accessible learning. And if people decide to continue developing the online platform by working on accommodating low-income families and those with disabilities, giving the proper time to develop the best online teaching practices, and working to help students' mental health and personal drive in online settings, online school could become just as if not more viable than in-person school. And with my self-reflection and research in online effectiveness, I believe that online school, while not perfect now, could lead to a new generation of teaching that's more accessible and effective to many individual situations. Thank you.